Okay, in this video, we're going to discuss how to write triangle similarity statements after we have connected the midpoints or the midsegments of any triangle, okay? Now, we've learned in a previous video that once you connect the midpoints in a triangle, you actually create 5 similar triangles, right? You create the 1, 2, 3, 4 triangles in the middle of this triangle plus the large triangle on the outside. These are all similar triangles. Now, how you write the triangle, how you designate the triangle is important, especially since we know that they are similar. Now, I went ahead and did this here. Here's my large triangle. It's an acute triangle, and I went A, B, C, and then I did D, E, F. Okay, so let me do one last thing before we start writing the triangle similarity statements, and that is to give a length for each side. So I'm going to say side AB is 3 units. Okay, so I'm just going to go over here and go line segment or side AB is equal to 3. BC, okay, I went ahead and measured it actually a little bit earlier, and that's 4 units. I'm going to put a 4 there. And then I'm going to say that AC, line segment AC or side AC, is 4.5 units. Now, also remember that when you connect the mid-segments of a triangle like this, you've created a couple of relationships that are pretty interesting. We know that, for example, line segment EF is parallel to BC. But not only is it parallel, it's also half its length. So line segment EF is half the length of BC. All right, so let's write that relationship somewhere. So I'll say line segment EF is 1/2 BC. Or I could also just say that 2 times EF is equal to line segment BC. And in the same way, I know that DE, line segment DE, is parallel to AB, but it's also half its length. Or, as I wrote up above, I could say 2 times the length of DE is equal to the length of AB. And then finally, the last one, DF DF is half the length of AC, or 2 times DF should equal the length of AC. Because of all these relationships, I can actually give a length to each side of these similar triangles. Now let's go ahead and start doing that. I know that BC is 4, right? And because this is a mid-segment, I know that BD is half that length, or just 2, which also means that that is 2 because it's halfway between. But it also means that EF is 2. Okay? So that's good information. Now, the same thing over here. I can say that A to B is 3. If F is halfway through, I know that AF is 1.5 units, which makes this 1.5 units. But it also makes DE 1.5 units. Now we're almost done here, aren't we? I know that AC, we said, is 4.5. I forgot to write that in there. Let me just do that. And because AE is 4.5, that means that AC. AE is half of that, 2.25, 2.25, which means that DF is also 2.25. Now that I've labeled each one of the individual segments and the larger segments, I can start writing my triangle similarity statements. Now, let me show you what I mean by that. There has to be a particular order to this, so they have to be in order. So let me just write this a little bit differently. Statements must be in order. So if I said, for example, triangle A, B, C, and I know that that's the big one, A, B, C, is similar, and remember that's the symbol for similarity, to triangle for any of these other smaller triangles, I have to actually start at the same point that corresponds to A, and then goes to B, then goes to C. Now, what do I mean by that? Now, notice that AB, right, between here and here, is the smaller side. It's the 3 of the 3, 4, 4.5. But then it goes from B to C, which is the second largest number, right? So it goes from 3 to 4 to 4.5. I have to do the same thing with this smaller triangle. Let me show you. So triangle ABC is similar to triangle. Let's start at the smallest number. So that would be along this side, and then it goes to the next larger and then the largest. So this would be triangle FBD. Because again, what did I do? I went along the small side, the second largest side, and then the third largest side, just like I did here. The smallest side 3, the second largest side 4, and the largest side 4.5. If you did something else, that would be an incorrectly written similarity statement. Okay? Now let's go ahead and finish off the rest of these. We know we have 5 similar triangles. So FBD. And FBD is also similar to, let's do this triangle up here. Where's the small side? It'd be 1.5. The second largest would be from here, and then the largest would be there. So this would be triangle ED along the small side, D to C, the next largest side, and then finally it goes back to E there. All right. Now that is also similar to triangle. Let's do another one. Let's try the middle one. Again, go from the small side to the second to the third. So that would be DEF. And then finally, that is similar. Do I have space here? I think I do. It is similar to triangle. What's the last one? It would be up here. AFE. Now, why do I have to do that? Well, I have to do that because I want each of these sides to be corresponding, right? So A to B would correspond to E or to D to E, all right? And then B to C corresponds from E, where am I? E to F, okay? So that would correspond to that. And these triangle similarity statements, again, have to be written in the correct order. Okay, I hope that was helpful.